Okay, we're going to talk today about putting everything together. So, by now you should have looked at calculating a whole bunch of different um, data from statistics as well as a whole bunch of different graphs. So, you should know things like mean, median, mode, Q1, Q3, IQR, standard deviation. You should have talked about tables and the difference between a two-way table or uh, frequency distribution as well as marginal and conditional. And with that, we're going to talk about how do you put it all together? How do you use all that information that you have learned to answer a question? And here's a good example. So this question has two different sets of data. It's representing classes, and the question that you need to ask is really right here. And it's an opinion question. So there's not a right and a wrong answer, but you need to use the statistics to answer it. You can't just say first class is better, the second class is better, because why is the most important question. Okay, so you need to make an argument. You could make an argument in both cases that maybe the first class is better or the second class is better. It's not necessarily which class is the better class, it is why you think so. Okay, and to answer this why, you're going to use all of this stuff, the mean, median, mode, Q1, Q3, IQR, standard deviation, the tables, the graphs, anything that you have known in order to answer this question, as well as biased versus unbiased. So let me take a stab at it without going through all the calculations. So it says the following set of data represents the scores of two different classes chosen at random. This is a key phrase. Chosen at random means that it is unbiased. So that should answer part of our question is why is this an unbiased sample? If it had been a biased sample, then we need to take that into account. So the next thing I would do is I'm going to look up this set of data, and I'm going to go ahead and calculate either the mean or the median. And just looking at this data, it is quite obvious that the bottom one has a higher mean than or median than the top one. And the reason is look where the middle of this is. We got 42, 44, 48, 56, 47, 58, 63, 39. The middle of this data is going to be somewhere in the 40 to 50 range, probably in the 50s. This set of data, we have a 45 here. We also have a 92 here, so if you and a 99, several 80s. So the mean in here is going to be somewhere around 70s, maybe 80s. So this one's going to be much higher. So since this is an unbiased sample and these grades are much higher than the other ones, I would make the argument that this bottom one is a better class. Now, the word better is a loaded question, so you might want to look at other data and see whether or not this is an outlier or whether or not this is indicative of many different tests, not just one particular test. So you might be able to say that there's not enough information. You're tempted to say that this one is a better class, but you need to see more data before you can definitively say this class is better than the top class. Okay, so that's the kind of things we're looking for when we're asking you to put it all together and make a reasoned argument. Okay, so yes, you got to calculate mean, median, mode, you got to calculate all those things, but when we put it together, it's about answering this question why you have an opinion, and base it not just on your feelings, but base it on the math and what the math is telling you. All right, I hope that helps. If you have questions, please make sure you ask.